There's a specific moment that a growing number of high earners are having. They're standing somewhere in a major city, New York, San Francisco, London, Sydney, living what should feel like the version of life they work toward. Good income, impressive address, career that's moving, all of it. And they pull up their net worth, not their salary, their actual net worth, what they own minus what they owe. The number that tells you whether all this earning is actually building anything. And the number is surprisingly thin for what they earn, for how long they've been earning it, for how hard the last several years have actually been. And a question forms quietly, without drama. What exactly is this city taking from me that I haven't been paying attention to? That question is leading somewhere specific. And the answer is changing where a meaningful and growing number of high earners are choosing to live. The conventional career narrative has always placed major cities at the center. That's where the opportunities are. That's where the salaries are. That's where you build a career that matters, a network that opens doors, a professional reputation that carries weight, and for a long time that was largely true. The income premium of living and working in a major metropolitan area was real enough to justify the cost premium that came with it. But something has shifted, and it's worth understanding what, because the math behind the shift is more significant than most people realize. Remote and hybrid work has decoupled income from location in a way that would have seemed implausible 10 years ago. A software engineer, a financial analyst, a consultant, a designer, a writer, roles that used to require physical proximity to major urban centers can now command salaries that were previously only available in those cities while living somewhere that costs a fraction as much to exist in. The income stayed. The cost of the city didn't have to come with it, and that gap between a major city salary and a mid-sized city cost of living is quietly one of the most powerful wealth-building levers available to a specific group of people right now. Let's look at what this actually means in numbers, because the difference is not marginal. Take someone earning $130,000 a year. In a city like New York or San Francisco, a realistic monthly budget looks something like this. Rent for a one-bedroom in a livable neighborhood, $3,000 to $4,000. Transportation, groceries, dining, utilities, the ordinary costs of existing in a high-density expensive environment, another $2,500 to $3,500. Student loans, subscriptions, incidentals, add another $800 to $1,200. Total monthly outflow before any investing or saving, easily $7,000 to $9,000, sometimes more. After tax on $130,000, call it $85,000 to $90,000 take home, depending on state, that leaves somewhere between $500 and $1,500 a month to build anything with, in a good month, with discipline. Now move that same person, same salary to a mid-sized city. Raleigh, Austin before the recent surge, Chattanooga, Boise, Lisbon if we're going international. Rent for a comparable or better space, $1,400 to $1,900. Total monthly living expenses, $3,500 to $4,500. Monthly surplus available for investing, saving, and wealth building, $3,000 to $4,500. Same income, same career, 3 to 4 times the monthly capacity to build net worth. Compounded over 5 years, the difference in accumulated wealth between these two scenarios is not a rounding error. It's a completely different financial life. And here's the part that makes this more than just a cost of living arbitrage story. The psychological dimension matters just as much as the arithmetic. In a high-cost major city, the social environment is calibrated to high spending. The peer group, the professional culture, the baseline of what constitutes a normal dinner out or a normal apartment or a normal vacation, all of it is set at a level that quietly pulls spending upward, regardless of individual intention. You're not making 100 small decisions to spend more, you're just existing in an environment where more is the default. In a mid-sized city, that social calibration shifts. The baseline moves. What feels normal costs less, and financial behavior follows the baseline more than most people realize or are comfortable admitting. The shift in thinking that matters here isn't about escaping city life or romanticizing somewhere smaller. It's about asking a question that high earners often forget to ask. What is my income actually for? If the answer is to fund a life that feels appropriate to the income, the address, the restaurant, the lifestyle that signals you've arrived, then a major city delivers that feeling efficiently, for a price. But if the answer is to build something that exists independent of the income, actual assets, actual net worth, actual financial options that don't require the salary to keep arriving, then the environment where you do that building matters enormously. And the major city, for many high earners, is actively working against that goal by consuming the margin that would have made it possible. The move to a mid-sized city isn't a downgrade. For someone at this specific intersection, high earning capacity, location flexible work, genuine wealth-building intention, it might be the highest return financial decision available to them right now. If you're in a position where remote or hybrid work is genuinely available to you, the calculation worth doing isn't just rent comparison, it's full monthly obligation comparison. Take your current total monthly spend, everything, not just the obvious categories, then research the realistic equivalent in 2 or 3 mid-sized cities where you could actually see yourself living. Not as a thought experiment, but as an honest financial analysis. What's the monthly surplus difference? What does that difference become if invested consistently over 5 years, over 10? The number that comes back from that calculation is the real cost of the current location decision, not the rent. The net worth impact of the rent compounded forward. If the difference is meaningful, and for most high earners in major cities it is, the follow-on question is what's actually keeping the current location in place. Career necessity is a legitimate answer. Proximity to family is a legitimate answer. Genuine preference for the urban environment is a legitimate answer. But it's just where I am, or I haven't really thought about it, are not answers. They're defaults, and expensive defaults, allowed to run indefinitely, have a compounding cost, just like deliberate investments have a compounding return. The city didn't fail them. The career didn't fail them. The income was always real. What was missing was the question of whether the environment was serving the financial life they were trying to build, or quietly consuming it. You don't have to move, you don't have to leave anything behind if the place you're in is genuinely worth what it costs. But you do have to know what it costs. Actually know, in net worth terms, in future option terms, in the compounded difference between building something and almost building something. Make the decision deliberately. Either way, just don't let the city make it for you by default.